Hey guys, I just wanted to make this a kind of a beginner tutorial. But if you become like from another program like Maya or 3ds Max, or maybe even from an earlier version of Blender, because now we're gonna go into Blender 2.8, which is almost going to release, then yeah, sit back. I think I'm gonna do this in a 3-part series. So in the first part, we're just gonna go over how to like go inside Blender and how to move around and all that stuff. Second part we'll actually model something, and in the third part we're gonna render that model. So we're gonna give it some materials and all that good stuff. So yeah, just jump into it, I guess. So this is blender.org. It's a free program, and right now we are at Blender 2.79b. But if you want to already go into the 2.8 version, which will have like it's very different than 2.7, let's say, then you can go in here in download, try Blender 2.8 beta, and yeah, choose one of these betas. It is actually I already used the Blender 2.8 for almost a 1.5 year. I think I started in December, and there were a few bugs, but right now it's very stable. So this is Blender 2.8. Looks different. So if you are from Blender 2.7, it's like, oh, but I actually think they improved a lot. The thing that I don't like is the scene collections. I'd rather have the layers, the old school layers, but you can't have everything, so that's okay. So let's just start for all the beginners. What is this? This is what we can see here is our 3D viewport, as you can see also here in this text. And in this 3D viewport we can move around and all that shebang and make our 3D model. If you click at this 3D viewport here in the top left, just left click, then you can choose what editor type you want. And so let's say we are gonna do shader editor, and here we can change our shaders, right? And you can always go back to the 3D viewport, which is this, and even if you have modeled this 3D cube and then go into another one, or it gets lost somewhere, then you can always go back. It doesn't get lost, let's say. Ctrl Z also works here. This is always nice, I guess. So yeah, if we look here, this looks like something totally different, right? Scene collections, but here also we can use the 3D viewport. I rather have, of course, what we had before there. So what was it? The outliner. My bad. Outliner it is. So these things I most of the time stay there, right? But I just want to show, or I keep there, but I just want to show you guys how editable this is, because you can work in here, you can work in here, you can work in here. These are all just different types of like editors, how they call them. What you can also do is you can change the size of these. So you can just, I can go here on this line, and I can just go up or down, right? Sometimes you want an extra editor in here, and then if you look at the bottom left or bottom right, even the top, you can see that it is a little bit of a black corner it has. And this corner, it's a bit hard to see in this version of Blender. In previous it was a bit easier, but you can actually click on here and you can drag it out, and now we have another view here, right? So what we can do is we can, for instance, do our UVs here, right? So if we have any UVs here, then we can work on them here and still see our 3D model at this right path. So that is very handy. And by the way, if you want to get it back, then you just click on here, drag it here, and you see the arrow, and then it snaps back into place. That's it. So let's go more over our model. Blender works a lot with like shortcuts and keys. So if you want to move something, we probably use just press a button and then we can move it around. We'll go later into that. But if you want to look around in this viewport, let's say, then for zooming it's just the scroll button. So just scroll up or down, and you can see that we scroll, like we zoom in or out. If you click the scroll button, so if you just click it in and then move around, then you can look around the model. Okay. If you want to pan around, so you don't want to scroll but you want to pan like this, then you hold shift and click this. Click the middle mouse button. So shift and the middle mouse button, and then you pan around. It please don't get scared by this. It will be like 1 hour of this and you'll get used to it. Really, it's very easy. In most games they already use this as well, so I'm sure most of you guys can already do this. So yeah, if you just look around a little bit and pan around, it will really help you to just get in touch with these keys, because those are the most important. Okay, it's just the middle mouse button, scroll, and the pen, and now you already have all the tools to just look around any part of the model that you want. Right? That's it. So, what is next? Well, after we know how to pan around the stuff, we can start to move the objects inside our scene. So if I want to move this one around, you click on it. With me it is set to right click, and I think it is changed now so everyone can just use the left click. If yours is the right or the left click, whatever, and you want to change the selection button, so if you select it, then you go here and you go into preferences, edit preferences. Okay, and in preferences, geez, that's a hard word, you can actually change a lot of stuff. Okay, so you do that with in key mapping. You can see here, select with left or right. Most of you guys will do left. I am so used to right, so I just do right. That's that. You can change multiple things here, but let's not go into depth here. Okay, so how do we move our model? Well, we can see here to the left loads of options, right? So we have our cursor, which is this thing here, and with clicking you can move it around. If you want this all the way back, by the way, it is Shift C. It jumps back. So you know why you need to remember that is because if I click here, let's say, and I want to add an object, so that is Shift A for add, and let's add an object, it will go in the middle of that point, right? And if you want it there, it's just you have to move it around again and that stuff. So that's why I sometimes click on Shift C and it jumps back to the middle. What you also can do is, if you click here on the little arrow, you can actually see that this is called a 3D cursor, by the way. This thing, the cursor, is the 3D cursor. You can see the location also here. So if you want to change this like to a specific thing, you can just click here and type 0, 0, 0 or whatever you want, and it will go to that place. Okay, because this place is all built up in 3 axes. You have the X, the Y, and the Z. Z is the blue one. You can also see them here, Z, Y, and X, right? Okay, cool. Next part, transform. What does transform do? Well, we can select it and we can see that there are all these options in here, right? And those are a lot. And this is because transform just shows all these 3 at once. So move, rotate, and scale. It just shows them all at once. So if we only do move, then we already see these arrows. Let's look. See? If you only do rotate, you can only see these lines. And if you do scale, you can see these. So let's go over these. Move. Moving, you can move them around a specific axis. So this is the y-axis, this is this one. And if you click on this one, it goes around the x and the y, but not around the z. Okay, that's why it is blue. So it does not go around the blue which is the z-axis. This one does not go around the red. This one does not go around the green, let's say. Okay, so if I don't, why do we have this? Well, because if you just are gonna move this, then you know, it can go up, it can go down. If you just don't want it to go up, then you can move around those other axes. Here are also shortcuts for it. Moving is called G, okay? And G is, let's put it back in the middle. So I can even go here, click on G, and you can see that it changed a little bit. The selection went from orange to white, then it is active, and now I can move it, right? I'm just moving my mouse right now. So G is for grabbing, you grab it, that's it. But let's say you want to grab it or move it around a certain axis. Then you do G and you do the axis that you want. So I want to do it around the Z axis. G, Z. You can go up or down. See how easy that is? So let's say we have the same as before. We want to move it around every axis except the Z-axis. So G, and then it is Shift to exclude, and then Z, exclude the Z-axis. And here we can move around. It's that easy. So that is moving. Let's go to the next part, which is rotating. So rotating, you can see that you can rotate here, and it rotates around the that axis, the x-axis. See? You know, this one and this one, and if you click on the white, it just rotates on whichever view you're watching at, right? The shortcut for rotating is R for rotation, which is a bit, you know, easier than grab to remember, I guess, but R. And also with R, you can do an axis which whatever you want. So R, and then let's do Y, and then it rotates around the y-axis. And also here you can exclude an axis if you want. So R, Shift Z, whatever. You can do that. It's not really necessary, but it is possible. And then as last we have our scale. So you can scale here, which makes it bigger, right? Scale is S for scaling. Super easy. And also if you hold on here, oh no, it's not here anymore. There used to be just a short, like the key underneath. Okay, whatever. So scale. S. Scale up or down. Up or down. Awesome. And of course, this is exactly the same as before. You can choose an axis. So scale X, scale Y, or scale Z. And also exclude it. Cool. So now we used our G for moving, R for rotating, and S for scaling. Awesome. We can also add way more, they call it primitives, I think. And when you do Shift A for adding, Shift A. By the way, if you ever have a problem finding something, of course you can Google. You can also try to, when you just click on space, just click the space bar, you can do a search. And you can click on ADD for add, and you can choose here, you can add objects, add a worm gear, add a whatever, right? It's a bit much here, but you can choose stuff if you don't really know how it's called or whatever. But yeah, right now we do Shift A, and we can just add a, let's do a cone. G, and then I need to move it out of here because it's perfectly inside here. So I do G, Z, and I move it around. So that is how you add more things. And what happens here to the right when you add something, you can see that you can select them here. You can actually also even hide them from your scene, hide them from the render, or even make them unclickable here, right? This is called a collection. So here are all your available things inside the 3D space. Cool. So let's say we don't really want to just add stuff, we actually want to edit our cube. When you click on a cube, you can see it gets orange, which we then selected, right? And you can click on top to go into edit mode. and edit mode is also available here. So we are now in object mode, right? From object mode you have multiple modes like sculpt mode, vertex mode, texture paint, blah blah blah. These three you will probably use the most: object, edit and sculpt, if you really go into more of my courses where we make also 3D models. But right now let's just go into edit mode, okay? And now you're really gonna see of what a 3D model is built up with, because it is not just whatever you see, right? It is actually, you have these dots which are called vertices or vertex, and between two dots it is a line which is called an edge, and you can see them here as well. So we have a vertex select line, so which is our edges, and then we have a face select. So a face is where all the vertices and edges are selected together, like around, connected together, I would rather say, and that makes a face, right? So this whole selected thing is a face, this orange thing. A face can be made from 3 or more vertices together. So this is already a face, right? Most of the time in 3D modeling you only use 3 or 4 vertices, so these dots, to create a face. You never really want to go to more than 5, like more than 4, like 5, 6. That just does not really work. Okay, so you can select them, as you can see, and with these things you have the same options as you can see here. We can move them, we can rotate them, we can scale them. Okay, and here are way more options also underneath. Let's first look a little bit into how to move them and blah blah blah, right? So G, you see I can move every vertex. I can rotate a vertex, which doesn't really do anything, but if you rotate an edge you can actually do something, as you see. And we can even also select only the whole edges if you want. If you just want to select the edge, then you have here different select modes. But let's stay into vertex mode right now. Let's go a bit down here and we'll see add extrude region. Extrude region. So this we are gonna use a lot, okay? And that is, you extrude something. So the shortcut for extrude region is just the E. So let's select this whole face. So we select all these vertices, and then we have this face selected when it becomes all the way orange. And now you can click on E for extrusion, E, and then it automatically already goes around the Z-axis. When you don't want that, you can click on the right click, but we'll go later into that. But okay, so extrude, and now we have 4 more vertices on top of this with lines and faces attached to our previous ones. So we can even extrude this one as well, see? And now you can build up a whole thing, which is totally cool. And also these selections you can of course move wherever you want, right? Then we have inset faces, which is I think just E here, and then you can extrude this even inwards again. Yeah, like as you can see, you can do so much cool stuff with this. So the more we go lower, the less, well, it's not the less we use it, but yeah, these are gonna be used like almost never. Knife maybe sometimes. I can go over the more important bit of okay, over the more important a little bit. Loop cut I seem to use a lot. The loop cut is when you click it, you can see a yellow line or loop cut will come around, and it will go around the whole loop. So if I do it here, it will loop all the way around. Okay. I don't like to do this selection. I really like to do everything with just shortcuts, okay, or short keys. So the loop selection is Ctrl R, and now you can see that we have this loop cut. You can scroll up or down to create more loops, and now you think like, why do I even need loops, right? Like, what does it do? Well, it gives us more vertices to work with. So let's say we have this here and here an extra loop cut. Now we can actually start extruding only this little part instead of this whole like block, right? And that is why we do that stuff. What more do we have? We have a knife tool. I won't go into this, but yeah, you can just select certain points and then there it will be cut through. The short key is K. Yeah, bevel is something we will probably use, and then for bevel it's just B, or no, Control B, my bad. Here we can also go just click on it and change here the segments, the profile and all that stuff. You need to play around a little bit with this, and just click, so you can do the segments. You can do like 2 segments. Doesn't really change, does it? Oh, okay. You first need to change the segments and then you can drag. It doesn't change it whenever it is done. Then if you want to change it whenever it's already kind of moved around, then you can still do it here. But yeah, that goes a little bit more into depth, and this is for beginners, right? So yeah, let's just go over this. What you also can do is you have different ways to select something. You can select everything with just the click, and then shift. If you hold shift, then you can select another part. So shift. Maybe I should have said that earlier. My bad if you are totally confused. But yeah, if you hold shift, then you can select another vertex with the other one still selected. Okay. What you can also do is click on C. And now you see this little circle coming up. This is why it's also C. Circle selection, this is called. And now when I just click left mouse click, here you can see that I can select multiple things. If I want to deselect something with this circular form, then I do the click the middle mouse button in. The middle mouse button, or the scroll button, just click it and then it will deselect anything within the circle. And we have B, which is called box selection, and then we can just drag it out and select everything what's inside the box. Awesome. Sometimes you want to select something which is behind here as well, and you don't really want to go here, then move around and select this. For this, let's say we want to select all this here. What you can do is you can click on Z, which is called wireframe mode, and now you can just click B, and then it selects everything which in the side, like you go like a bit through the object, so you select all the way through, which could be important. Also, what is very handy to just look around the scene a little bit more is on your numpad. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? If we click on 1, we are in the front view, so that's the front from the y-axis. If you click on 3, you are in the x-axis, right? 7, you are the top. And one more thing, if you click on 5, you go from orthographic to non-orthographic view. So here there is, like, if you click on 5, or if you don't click on 5, you are in a, you can see depth, right? And that is sometimes it's handy to check some stuff. But let's say I am going totally in the front view, and it already changes to here. I'm trying to look in the front view, and now if I want to select something, it still works, but sometimes it's not totally lined up because you have a certain you have a perspective, right? If you click on 5, we do not have a perspective, so all these vertices are in one line, right? So I selected them all right now, which is sometimes very handy to look at. Cool, so that is kinda everything that I wanted to explain about moving around here and just using the UI. And as you can see, there are so many more options. We can go here, like everything has buttons and all that stuff, right? But if you want to make 3D models, just focus on this first a little bit, know how to move around here and get a little bit comfortable with it. All these buttons, like, I don't even know half of this stuff, okay? And I used this for years. So don't get caught up by this is too much information. it will get all clear after a while after you've done some after you just have done some stuff, okay? And if you really want to go into depth into this, I also have a website where I create courses. And if you like this already, then I'm sure I can help you way further in your to your 3D modeling progress. So I leave a link down and maybe show what it looks like, what for course I give. It's like, it's not even 25 euros per month. It's just it's quite cheap, and we have a specific, like, we have a free mastermind Facebook group when you join, and you can ask any questions. I have live streams for you guys and all that stuff. So if you're really interested in it, then I will gladly see you there and help you there. But let's just go on to the next part, and we're just gonna make it separate, and we're actually gonna build something, okay? So if you're happy to go there, then let's do it.